the situation in LA and the national courts to be clear that efforts to rip away opportunities from Minnesota students are part of a national and highly coordinated campaign of hate against our families, a campaign that discriminates against origin and skin color and language. Meanwhile, we stand on the side of believing every student should have the right to a high-quality education that leads a dignified career. It's good for the student, it's good for the families, and quite frankly, it's an obvious economic investment. Thank you to AG Keith Ellison for taking the steps necessary to stand with our families and defend our students. And congratulations to the student leaders here today who stand in power and dignity, much like the student leaders who won the DREAM Act before them. Balante, thank you, and again, welcome, and I will pass it to Edwin Torres.
Buenas tardes, good afternoon. My name is Edwin Torres de Santiago, and I have the honor of serving as the board chair of COPAL Minnesota. I was born in El Salvador in the midst of a brutal civil war. At the age of 8, I immigrated to the United States con mi madre, with my mom and my older brother, carrying nothing more than hope and a belief that life could be better. For nearly 25 years, I lived in this country without papers, but never without a purpose. I've endured the fear of deportation, the shame and silence, and the burden of being told that I don't belong. And yet today I stand not before you as a statistic. I stand before you as a testament of what is possible when a state chooses compassion over cruelty and inclusion over exclusion. Minnesota became my home. It's a place that believed in me. It's where I became the first in my family to graduate from college. It's where I earned my master's degree in public policy. And 2 years ago, I made history as the first undocumented student admitted to a PhD program at the University of Minnesota Humphrey School of Public Affairs. Let me be absolutely clear. It didn't happen despite of policies like the Northstar Promise or the Minnesota DREAM Act. It happened because of them. These laws are not acts of charity. They're investments in human potential. They tell students like I once was, you belong here and your dreams matter. And let not forget, Minnesota has made incredible strides towards dignity and fairness. After decades of organizing, we passed driver's license for all, expanded access to higher education for undocumented students, investments that reflect our deepest values. This moment is not about defending laws. It's about defending our dreams and protecting our potential, ensuring that every student who calls Minnesota their home has a chance to thrive. To the youth leading this fight, your courage is contagious. Your voice carries power beyond measure. I may no longer be undocumented, but I carry every chapter of those 24 years with me. I stand with you because I've lived it, I've survived it, and I'm committed my life to making sure that your path forward is stronger than mine ever was. Let's rise together, protect what we've built, and to show the country that in Minnesota, we don't back down. And when our communities are under attack, we rise, we organize, and we win. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jordi Walpa, and I am a student at Metropolitan-St University. I'm also part of COPAL's Youth Committee. I'm delighted to be here today to share the powerful impact the Northstar Promise Scholarship has on immigrant families and first-generation college students. I grew up in Minneapolis, the son of 2 immigrants in a small 2-bedroom apartment with my mom, dad, and my 2 sisters. My parents, neither of whom spoke much English or completed a formal education, worked around the clock to provide a better life for me and my sisters. We didn't have much, but our community was vibrant. My parents worked the subway for more than 20 years, slowly climbing the ladder. They never complained, and as a child, their sacrifice was as clear to me as their love. After decades, they finally made a wage that someone right out of college could make. It was then that I knew college had to be part of my plan. Turning that plan into reality was way more challenging than I anticipated. Thanks to a college readiness program at high school, I completed the FAFSA. Otherwise, I'm not sure I could have, given my family's language barrier and general financial literacy. Sending me to college was a family commitment. On top of loans, my parents were maxing out credit cards, and I was working full-time at Home Depot. In 2022, I enrolled at the University of Minnesota as a first-generation college student. Despite this milestone, the financial weight of the decision was still heavy, and my grades suffered for all the extra work I had to do to keep up with tuition. That weight limited my options at the U, so I started looking into business and finance programs elsewhere. I was inspired by my work at Home Depot, where I was usually the only Spanish-speaking employee. I learned how much I love to help marginalized communities solve financial problems. However, many of the finance programs I looked into would cost $25,000 a year or more, which I could not afford. Nevertheless, I applied to a few schools and hoped for a miracle. That miracle arrived one afternoon at a family gathering in 2024. I was sharing my dilemma with my cousin, and he told me about the Northstar Promise Scholarship. I was skeptical. I never heard of it, and it sounded too good to be true. But I completed the FAFSA as I did every year, and it turned out I was eligible. A degree in finance at Metro-State University, the school I was applying to, would be covered through Northstar Promise. Today, as a senior, after just 1 year at Metro-State, I can say for the first time in my life, I feel financially free. I don't have to worry about racking up student loans or being a financial burden. Instead, I'm on a path to support my family and my community. The ability to give my all to my education and pursue my dreams has been such a blessing. But for so many first-generation students, the cost of higher education isn't just a number. It's a roadblock, a weight that impacts entire families. Northstar Promise removes that roadblock. It turns dreams into real opportunities so we can focus on learning instead of worrying about being in debt. This program has proved that when we invest in students, we invest in stronger communities, in economic mobility, and in a more prosperous Minnesota. The Department of Justice lawsuit against the Northstar Promise threatens all of this. Without it, I wouldn't be at this press conference, involved with COPA's youth committee and focusing on my education. Instead, I would be working to pay off loans my parents cannot afford. This is why I'm here to ask for those who can't. Please protect Northstar Promise and ensure that future generations of students, no matter where their families come from, have the same opportunity I've been given. Thank you.
Muy buenas tardes. My name is Rosa Toc, and I am the Executive Director of the Minnesota Council on Latino Affairs. The Council represents close to 400,000 Latinos and Latinas to state government and works with the community to advise, inform, and educate policymakers and lawmakers on the most pressing issues affecting us. Equal access to K-12 education and affordable higher education are top priorities for our communities. We are here to stand not only in solidarity with these young students' demands, but with the responsibility entrusted with us to advocate against this unnecessary lawsuit brought forward by the U.S. Department of Justice on this matter. This federal overreach inappropriately interferes with the state's decision to determine who qualifies as resident for tuition purposes. As stated by former Representative Carlos Mariani Rosa, author of the Minnesota's 2013 Prosperity Dream Act, the Minnesota legislature has ensured that our higher education system includes pathways for immigrant students in alignment with the 1982 U.S. Supreme Court Plater versus Doe, which guarantees access to public education regardless of immigration status. And I close the quote here. So the Council agrees with the Attorney General Keith Ellison in his legal analysis and defense of the right to education and making college possible for more Minnesotans, particularly for families not wealthy enough to afford college comfortably, regardless of immigration status, especially at a time when our state faces workforce shortages. This is an issue of equity and not of immigration status. We need every Minnesotan that resides in the state to reach their full capacity to contribute to the economy and the well-being of our communities. In Minnesota, the threat of the DOJ lawsuit is predicated by their belief that state law gives preferences to undocumented migrants over the citizens. At face value, this seems false because there is no preference. Instead, the law gives them the same access to residency that citizens already have, while providing financial aid only according to need. The Northstar Promise program is very successful. According to a preliminary report from the Minnesota Office of Higher Education, 53,567 Minnesota students benefited from it during the 2024-2025 school year. Unfairly, immigrants are being targeted despite likely representing less than 1% of the more than 50,000 NSP recipients and receiving less than 2% of the total available public grants. So, our message to all of you courage students and your allies: do not lose hope, like the Attorney General said before. Look at your logo behind your shirt. Resist, organize, and transform. Fight with the power of your stories, with the power of your convictions, with the power of facts. It is your vision, your determination, and brilliance that will help this state to be the best place to raise families and children and prepare the most talented workforce that, in the end, will benefit all people in Minnesota. Adelante. Gracias.
Here, this is my 6th year here in United States. I came as an international student, F1 visa. And then after that, I got here as a my master program degree at Minnesota State University, Mankato. And then after that, now I am working as a high school teacher, where I teach students from 14 years old up to 21, depending on the cases, 23 years old. So today, I want to speak for them, because before I come to this meeting, I was talking to some of them. I am teaching seniors now, and every year I help them to fill it up, FAFSA, DREAM Act, Northstar Promises, and any other kind of financial aid that they can have. So before coming here, we were talking about this. They are waiting for me to give them answers, because some of the people, they didn't choose to come. Some of my people, they came because their parents took the decision. We are not blaming parents. They have their own decisions why they have to come here. But I am going to speak for the people that I serve. People 14 years old, 15 years old, they are minors. They didn't have that decision. They came here and they don't have opportunities in order to continue with their education. So based on my experience, talking from statistics, the people in my high school, 90% of them, they are benefits of DREAM Act and Northstar Promises. So I am here to say that these kind of programs not just help my community, not just help the Latin community. I serve also Africans. I serve also people who are from this country. And we are happy to do that because we love this country. We love this society. We are here to continue serving this society. So these kind of programs is not just helping them to be first generation, right? They are helping them to get an education and changing their dreams and their opportunities and change them for a better future, not just for them, also for their families and for the whole community. Because if we get that education, if one of you, one of us, we get that education, we are going to better serve this community, this state, this country at all. So I am here standing for my people, for my students, saying that they need this. So thank you for that. Thank you for organizing this, because we as not only immigrants, also the people here, we need these kind of programs to make this society better. It's not just a matter of immigration, who is documented or not documented. It's a matter of making the country better. Thank you.
Buenas tardes. First, I'd like to thank the incredible young leaders who I've had the privilege of meeting today. It is certainly my honor to meet you. And whenever I have a chance to meet the future and the present, I always embrace that opportunity because it's an incredible privilege to just be in your presence. Let me also say gracias por tu valentía, persistencia y visión. Your courage, persistence, and vision are the reason Minnesota has the DREAM Act and the Northstar Promise program. Let me be clear. My office is firmly committed to defending these programs against the lawsuit brought by the United States Department of Justice. Minnesota has the legal right to define a residency and tuition eligibility, and we will protect that right. And we will take this up to the Supreme Court. We will take it in every court. We will not back down. You can count on that. Estos programas reflejan quienes somos como habitantes de Minnesota. These programs reflect who we are as Minnesotans. They ensure that every student, regardless of immigration status, has a fair They've seen dreamers achieve great success. They believe opportunities should be limited to a select few. But in Minnesota, we know better than that. In Minnesota, we know that everyone deserves to live with dignity, safety, and respect. And that's why we sued Trump over his effort to end birthright citizenship. That's why we sued to stop the government from denying undocumented immigrants access to federally funded programs like Head Start, workforce training, or mental health services. That's why we're defending these programs that expand access to education. We've sued Trump 36 times. We'll sue him 36 more and 36 after that. And we will not. We haven't lost yet, by the way. When Donald Trump tried to tell Minnesotans that we'd only get federal emergency funding for transportation if we went along with his cruel immigration policies, that have terrorized communities nationwide, we sued to block those orders. And so far, the courts have agreed with us. We sued the administration to stop Medicaid and Medicare from sharing sensitive data with the Department of Homeland Security for use in immigration enforcement. So far, we've been successful. The Trump administration also tried to collect data on SNAP recipients to use their immigration enforcement efforts. We sued to block that as well. In that case, it's still making its way through the courts, but we're optimistic that we will prevail. And Trump and his allies even tried to put conditions on federal grants that offer support to crime victims, saying that states could only access these funds if they agreed to support the administration's extreme immigration enforcement efforts. We took them to court on that too. At every turn, the Trump administration has attacked immigrant communities because he sees you as a threat to his vision of America. We know you're no threat to America. We know you help America. We know you make this place better for everyone, including yourselves and your family and all of us. But he has a vision of America where only his allies truly belong and only his supporters are protected by the law and the Constitution. He's wrong. And at every turn, my office has stood up to defend the rule of law, our democracy, and all communities, because we know that no one should be left outside the circle of our protection. And we see just how much you bring to this great state of ours and our country. I'm proud to stand with these young leaders. They know, and Minnesota knows, that expanding access to education is not only a moral imperative, but it's also an investment in Minnesota's prosperity, and it's the law. I invite all Minnesotans to stand with us and our communities as we defend opportunity and fairness for every student in our state. Thank you, guys.
Good evening. My name is Sabrina Tapia, and I'm here on behalf of Latino Lead and to support the COPAL Youth Committee, standing with immigrants, students, and allies across Minnesota in full defense of the Minnesota Prosperity Dream Act and Northstar Promise Program. These programs are not just state statutes, they are stories of resilience, of organizing, and decades of community power. They represent the dreams of undocumented students who grew up here, graduated from Minnesota high schools, and are now building the futures rooted in all sectors, in education, in community, in business, and in government. The DREAM Act, passed in 2013, allowed undocumented students, many of whom have lived here their entire lives, to access in-state tuition and financial aid. The Northstar Promise Program, enacted in 2023, expands the support by covering the remaining tuition costs that after all other aid is applied. And this makes higher education possible for students and parents who simply can't afford it. At a time when Minnesota faces historic workforce program shortages, especially in healthcare, education, and STEM fields, because we need you as engineers, we need you as scientists, we need you as doctors, as you have always been. Minnesota is facing these historic teacher shortages, and the DREAM Act is essential to solving it. The state will need 18,000 new elementary teachers and 14,000 new middle school and high school teachers in the next decade. These shortages are across 44 licensure fields, including special education and bilingual education. These are licensure areas many are hard to staff. Many students who will benefit from the DREAM Act have personally navigated these systems and are well equipped to return as advocates and leaders in classrooms. This is not a footnote. This is the backbone of Minnesota's economic growth. Dismantling access to education for undocumented youth not only hurts families, it is undermining Minnesota's economic resilience. Latina students face systemic barriers to education. Only 21.5 Latina adults in Minnesota hold a bachelor's degree or higher, compared to 39% of white adults. We cannot meet our 70% higher education attainment goal, close these workforce development gaps, or compete in a global economy without investing in each and every one of you. We have to build a global economy of folks who have already been here, already contributing, and are already rising. And now let's not forget how we got here. This DREAM Act wasn't a gift from lawmakers. It was a demand from students who fasted, testified, marched, and organized. This is not about policy. It is about power, and we will not let that power be erased. So we want to thank Attorney General Keith Ellison for defending these laws, and we will support him. We will call on every Minnesotan to do the same. To our educators, our business leaders, our elected officials, this is our moment to be bold, to say we will not retreat from justice, because when we are one community that is under attack, we will all rise together. And to the students, you are not alone. We see you. We believe in you. We are fighting for your right to learn, to grow, to lead. And to the parents, we see you. We honor you. We support you. Thank you. Y adelante.